Spanish left back, 27 years of age, set to join Real Madrid, are the reports out right now. £51.7 million sterling. This is a man who has incredible experience, yet still comes in for some massive criticism, Ale, by the masses for whatever reason. How do you feel about this move?
Well, by the masses, I imagine you're talking about the Premier League masses. Right? Marc Cucurella, I think, is a well-respected player in Spain and a guy who has made a career from being a guy who just thought was just on the outside looking in, that was just going to be a professional over the next 10 years, but there wasn't going to be a whole lot about him. No. He's worked his way up to the point to where he made that move to Chelsea and now makes this move to Real Madrid. In the middle of all that, he's made himself very much a part of the national team with Spain and a guy who is, I think, critical to the success that Spain has down that left-hand side because he is willing to defend. While he can get up and down, and he could probably be an option down the left-hand side in the attack and a natural outlet down the left-hand side, he's a guy that doesn't mind grinding, that doesn't mind fighting, that doesn't mind defending. And that in itself, I think, is useful to Real Madrid because they just didn't have enough of that in that left-hand side.
So they need him.
Absolutely they do. A player of that profile. Fran Garcia, it's just simply a guy who's there to make up the numbers in the squad. And whenever there is an injury, he can be an option to play off the bench. But as it pertains to Álvaro Carrera, who was brought in to take control of that left-sided position because Ferland Mendy is always injured, yeah, not so much. Álvaro Carreras, to me, in some of the big games, if not all of the big games, he looked intimidated by the moment. And he looked intimidated because he didn't play well initially in those big games. Now all eyes are on him. And he, to me, looked afraid.
23, first season.
Well, I don't care. He looked afraid.
There you go.
He looked scared.
Good.
He looked scared. And when you have a guy that is supposed to be an option for you down the left-hand side in the attack, but is too scared to get forward or too scared to complete a pass or too scared to split lines with the passing because you don't want to make any mistakes and gets really uncomfortable when a guy like Lamine Yamal is going at him. I understand that that's difficult, but it's your job to try to give it a go and see if you can defend the player. He did not seem like the player that Real Madrid thought they were getting. In the end, when everything was falling apart at Real Madrid, Álvaro Carreras was comfortable sitting on the bench. That tells you everything that you need to know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, when we're talking about, say, this stage that football is, like Real Madrid, they are the biggest team. The lights shine the brightest. The weight of that white shirt playing in that situation and playing in this last 2 years where they've not won anything. Like Ali makes the point that he's hiding. You don't just need to be good to play for Real Madrid. You need the personality to be able to play for Real Madrid as well. Because the noises...
Jose Mourinho.
Literally, yeah. That's a whole thing in itself. But I like this Cucurella signing because I think he's a very good player. And I think you sort of undersold something a little bit. You said he's willing to defend. He's obsessed with the defending. When you watch him play, he sees the winger and he's thinking, this is my battle. This is me for the day. And I think that in some ways is sort of changing the way that sort of Mourinho wants to have his Real Madrid side be compared to what it has been. I think one thing about Real Madrid in the last few years is that they're not exactly the toughest team to play against. Yes, when they're going forward, you can see their absolute best. But in terms of stuff on the other side, like, if we're to talk about, say, Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example, if we're talking about the worst version of him defensively, he doesn't look like he wants to defend. Well, on the other side now, you've got somebody who's desperate to defend. But also, as we've said, he went to Chelsea for 50 million, or just over 50 million pounds, and he's going to Real Madrid for a similar fee. Except in that time, he's become a full-time Spanish international left-back.
Love it.
It seems like, to me, that's a very good deal.
And let's not forget.
For everyone except for Chelsea.
Yeah, well, let's not forget. When he was playing in Spain, he was playing for Getafe. If anybody knows anything about Getafe, it's a team that likes to fight, that likes to defend. And while his upbringing was Barcelona, Getafe is also very much in his make and what he has become as a player. So he is a guy that can play the ball much like a Barcelona player can and can complete the passes and will get forward, but does have the mentality to defend. Coliseo Alfonso Perez to defend in Getafe. Well, that's the way that he plays. Look, it's not for everybody. And for whatever reason, he gets this sort of treatment from other people that seems like they're picking on his hair or something. I don't know. I think Marc Cucurella is a very good player for the position and the role that he plays. And within that role, I think he seems to make a whole lot of sense for Real Madrid.
Do you think they're signing him just so they can say they have a player at the World